I still playing. I'm hoping that because this song has vocals, it's not gonna get, or that this isn't gonna get content ID because of the song with vocals. It seems like the songs that have vocals seem to be particularly prone to content ID claims. Okay, so for the record, I'm not sure. I'm hoping once I get into Chrono Cross proper, I'm going to be streaming more regularly. I just I've had a lot of content to watch, I guess, over the past few weeks, and I just haven't felt as much in the mood to stream. So I'm kind of using Saturday as my day where I'm definitely going to stream, and then every other day before that is kind of like maybe, maybe not. Um, I'm not sure about like doing a replay or not. I mean, it's probably be a little shorter because I know what I'm doing, um, or remember more about what I'm doing. Also, update on my plan for how much I'm going to end up modding Chrono Cross. Officially at this point, there is both a there are a few mods I'm interested in using. Just in case I'm okay. As I bring up the list for myself. So there's the HD character update. There is the Studio AI upscale, which I believe is just the cutscenes. There's 4 times background textures. There's the FPS hack, and I think that's it. There's 2 separate files like for making the character models have HD textures. So what I'm planning to do tentatively is I'm going to be probably playing at least the first part of the playthrough without any mods, just so I could like observe what the base game is like. Because I mean we're technically reviewing the PC version, but and modding is kind of part of playing it on PC, but it's not officially supported. Uh, Dang it. Is kind of one thing. I'm not sure I'm gonna have it lose any points over that, but I think lack of official mod support is more of the lack of a positive than it is inherently a negative. Um, but the thing is, I for the review for the sake of I mean, actually, let's actually pan back. Okay, well, let's leave it here. Um, I'm streaming more during the day, as you can probably tell by the lighting and the way the green screen's not really working very well. Actually, doesn't look as good as doing in this in these conditions. I don't think lighting the green screen isn't gonna help any. Um, let's try moving it again. Um, oh, now we got a kitty. Ellie, no, you cannot lay on my arms at all. Please, you can lay up here. Oh, I need to have my headphones on. Which just feels weird when I'm just talking. Uh, now she's distracting me. That was probably gonna be a problem sooner or later anyway. Um, anyway, um, the thing is that um, the main thing to take into account is that I want to take into account is that even though I am playing this on PC and we're technically reviewing the PC edition, we had to take into account that this game's also on multiple consoles, none of which have mod support. Mod support. Um, so I had to take into account how awful the background textures look, how awful the character textures look, how awful um, the frame rate is, um, whatever issues are in place in the PC version are likely going to be in place to some degree or other in the uh, Ellie. Don't be grumpy while I'm on stream. Ellie, I don't like you being fussy. I especially don't like you being fussy when I'm trying to do a live stream. It's embarrassing. If you want to play, you go play somewhere else. I'm sorry. Why do you have to get agitated while I'm trying to stream? I'm trying to explain what I'm going to be doing with the main playthrough here, okay? For the record. So, okay. So the plan is I'm going to be um uh playing the game initially, first part or so, without any mods. We're gonna probably look at the classic mode and the enhanced mode, comparing everything, and then we're probably going to apply some mods. Um, because just for my own satisfaction and being able to see how impressive they are. Um, they're probably not going to factor into the review. Like that's kind of the point, because basically, if the backgrounds look really muddy and crappy, much like Radical Dreamers does, um, I'm gonna we're gonna note that and move on. Basically, if the cutscenes look grainy or subpar, or the FMVs look grainy, subpar, poorly upscaled, we're gonna make a note of that and move on, apply the mod to remedy that. Basically, um, you know, the fact that these are available from fans a month, less than a month after the game, the PC port comes out. Granted, I believe a lot of the work, uh, apparently it is possible to actually mod the PlayStation version. I believe they had like the upscaled backgrounds uh, and FMVs were already um, implemented, created and implemented for the PlayStation version via emulation. Um, a while before this was even announced, maybe I don't know exactly. I believe it was 2021, and I believe they announced it this port officially earlier this year. So, um, yeah. Anyway, uh, so it was just basically, I'm assuming it was just a matter of like porting everything from the PlayStation version mod to the PC version, which probably would take less than a month. So I don't know how much actual work went into um, the AI upscaling or whatever it was, um, or how much of an investment of time it can have been. I don't know. Um, it just is kind of amusing that like fans can do with their own technology and their own limited budget what a multi-million-dollar corporation um, is just failing to do with their resources. Um, I mean, there are explanations for that. You know, fans tend to have a lot of time on their hands. That Uh, so anyway, beyond just that, um, there are, I believe, at least two positives I want to retroactively give to what we played so far. Based on the map of truth. The map of truth sequence is, I believe, going to get an information positive and a interaction positive. Um, I've kind of decided interaction because it is interactive by nature, and they had to implement all these different choices. Although that's not really that difficult technically to do because it's just like um, but they could have basically had this whole thing where you go there, you don't know what to do with it. Um, Now, one thing that I could potentially give a negative to, I'm not sure if I am, is the fact that you had to pass by the uh, the little, I forget what it was called. Yeah, the area with all the piranhas, the piranodons. I can't remember what the area was actually referred to as. Um, and kid complains every time, like, "What are you doing? We don't want to go for that again." And it's like we're not going for there. We're going to the mouth of truth. Like, why are you pretending that we're? I'm not sure if that's a review of a full negative anyway. It's just kind of uh, irritant. Um, I would at least give it information positive by being able to give it an interaction positive just because it is an interactive thing. Uh, it's at the end of the day, I'm still kind of debating whether or not to give it two positives overall. Um, that's the biggest point. And actually, I definitely would want to give it an information positive. Um, because it is like uh, well written, amusing. Like, the whole sequence is amusing. Um, we didn't even go through all the options. I just didn't feel like it. Um, I probably should have, just for honest. Um, I was just kind of immersed in thinking like, clearly none of these things, that random things that kids bring out, are going to work. I think giving it both information and interactive interaction positive would be it's Radical Dreamers. We're at the it's a visual novel that is kind of alternate version of Chrono Cross. It came before Chrono Cross. It was on the Satellaview add-on that was only in Japan. That's the age treatment. That was what's called. Um, anyway, I'm just gonna make a note. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it two positives. That's me on it. I already explained a lot about like the history of this game in part one, but it was like a downloadable game back when downloadable games were kind of not as much of a thing, like in the mid '90s, mid to late '90s. I don't know the exact release date, but and this is the first time it's been officially localized for into English, and I'm assuming other languages as well, like localized outside of Japan. Okay. We went back. We went for the atrium and continued down to the corridor before finding ourselves at a fork in the road. Corridor stretch off to the left and right. We're gonna go left first. Continued down the corridor, eventually reaching an old, rather sturdy looking door. Bloody marvels, another bloody door with bloody magic barrier on it. I don't know what's inside. My sixth sense tells me it ain't treasure. Okay. Kid whispered back to us as she examined the door. I suspected this is the Merlin's dungeon, replied Rachel, his eyes closed in concentration. I could hear the sound of someone moaning in the darkness on the other side. But there's nothing we can do, and nothing is a little concern to us now. But let's turn back. No way of getting through the door, we retraced ourselves down the corridor. We stopped in our tracks, her senses clearly tingling. Rachel and I right behind her, and immediately realized that something was very wrong. We hear a faint whimpering as if a spell were being cast. A whispering. And a faint light was emanating from a monster sitting crouched to the flagstones ahead. Oh yeah, I need to get my headphones on. A long bony figure traced strange shapes on the tiles. A demon! Pull up my knife and made myself confront it. I dashed to one side of it, left my dagger as I went. It tore through the creature's paper thin skin. But it was only a flesh wound! But you've got no arms left! But the thing's laughing at us. And it was too, chuckling maniacally in a way that made me deeply uneasy. Raised my knife again and prepared for the worst. My eyes met the demons, and it was then I saw it. There was a twinkle behind them. I couldn't turn my gaze away. Its chuckle grew to a brilliant light that peered into the very depths of my soul. And then, just like that, he muttered a few words and melted into the shadows. For seconds before, it had towered over us. Now not a trace of it remained. What was that all about? Why it would disappear mid-fight? Because there's someone else, place else to be, gave a shrug, doing your best to at least feign indifference. I couldn't shake the sense of unease that had filled me. I peered uneasily at the darkness into which the vile creature had disappeared. Starting to feel a little worse for wear. I was going to have to be more careful from now on, or this was going to end badly. Maybe you guys have to try and go after all. This goes to show any old weirdo get mixed up in themselves. They put their minds to it, because I was going to have mischief. Making our way down the cold, dark corridor, we came to a branch in the path. The path to the right would take us back to the atrium of the fountain. The corridor also continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. Continued down toward the dark night corridor until some stairs leading downward finally came into view. Oh, let's go downstairs. Okay, we kept down the stairs, ascending deeper into shadows as we went. At the bottom, we found ourselves at another intersection. The narrow passageway branched left and right. Continued on down the corridor until it ended in a large door covered in scratches and other odd marks. Above the door was a wooden plate. It bore the legend "Guard Room" in elaborate calligraphy. Well, reckon this might be where we find the key to the door upstairs. Getting past that bloody magic barrier without it. We pressed an ear against the door and listened carefully. It sounded like anyone's in there. Kid opened the door. The room seemed completely silent from the outside, so we thought it would be empty, but there inside was a lone goblin, sitting in a chair with a book in his hand. A light steam drifted from a teacup on a table in front of it, and with it a delicate aroma. Goblin peered at us curiously over his spectacles. There's something different about this one. I could tell that's much at a glance. Heavens, how rare it is to have guests! Heavens, how well looking for a goblin. I only feel dread and suspicion at the sight of him. Nonetheless. Yeah, she also, I'm thinking like positive to give for the previous installment again. I wasn't thinking a whole lot about when giving like positives to the story aspects. Sorry, mate, but not your guest. Come take it to the dungeon if you want to live. Could have a knife at the table to illustrate her point. But the goblin didn't so much as flinch. Ah, you must be Kid. What a pleasure this is. I have always wanted to meet you. Why, even more ravishing than the rumors would before the goblin could finish. Kid's knife flew through the air. Quick flick of his wrist, the goblin caught the blade, and with the back of his book, caught the blade with the back of his book, a mere inch from his face. I see that your approach is as radical as the name of your merry band would suggest. The goblin's head pulling the knife free and handing it back to Kid. Took it without a word, but her gaze had changed. She was like a cat cautiously studying his prey. Speaking of cats, there is a cat over here playing. I'm sitting with for 20 minutes. Having fun? Okay. Now we're just getting to the good part too. Oh well, I suppose I shall have to give up on never finishing it now. Gary casually flung the book over his shoulder and into a nearby van. Allow me to introduce myself if I may. I am Grisbeld, and I am the god on watch. No need to stand. Please, do take a seat. You're welcome to tea, of course. The goblin begged us to sit down. Do you mean to poison us? If I may. If I may, Major took a seat, ignoring the obvious suspicion in the air. I looked at Kid. Confused by how Major seemed, I looked at Kid. She remained where she stood, seemingly unsure what to do to make of the goblin, apparently quite sure she wasn't going to sit down. I decided to stay standing as well. The goblin poured 3 cups of tea. Here you are! With a slight bit of hesitation, Major took his teacup and lifted it to his lips. He sipped and placed the cup back on his saucer. Himalayan tea. Well, the blend I expect to find here. Well, the pleasure it is to encounter a fellow connoisseur. Yes, it's a rare blend, and widely enjoyed by the noble classes. I couldn't believe this conversation I was hearing, but I also couldn't help wondering what this rare tea might taste like. My eyes rested on the cup that had been poured for me. Like, I'm second guessing this because I want to try and get like as close to the best ending as I can. This being my second playthrough in 5 years. I can't remember exactly. I really should just put it off a walkthrough or something. I had to stay strong, but the warm aroma of the tea was caressing my nostrils. I feel myself giving in to its allure. I glanced over at Kid and saw that she'd already sat down without me noticing. This seems super sus. A kid too, I thought, but I couldn't let myself drink the tea. There had to be something in it, surely. Now that we're comfortable, let's get down to brass tacks, as they say. I do indeed have the key to the dungeon, as you surmised, but will you also be aware that I cannot simply give it away? I glanced up at the kid again. Typical, she wasn't listening to a word Grisbell was saying. She was still huffing and puffing at her tea. It seemed it would be up to me to respond. I suppose that means you want something in return. You'd like to know what I want? I want your head. Of course, I'm sure that's what my employer would have me say, but no, I have no such barbarous aspirations. Furthermore, I doubt I'd be a match for you. Crucible chuckled as he said this. What I live for is the joy of conversation, which I fear my compatriots are ill-equipped to supply. Perhaps you might have one or two ripping yarns to share? Grinning, he added, I'm sure notorious thieves such as yourselves have more than a few thrilling tales up your sleeves. So I wanted to hear a story that seemed more than a fair price to pay for the key. I closed my eyes and thought, I know just the story. How did it begin? One night a young girl was walking alone in the forest. And then... she was out hunting for bugs. What was next again? She caught a beetle and painted it gold. So I remember, or it seemed about right, I had a rough handle on how the evening would go. Took a breath and began my tale. One night a young girl was walking alone in the forest. She was out hunting for bugs. She caught a beetle and painted it gold. Next morning she set off into town to sell her catch. On her way there, she met some travelers and convinced them that the creature she carried was the fabled beetle of fortune. She sold it to them for an eye-watering price. Rich at last, the girl and her mother lived happily ever after. Here's the girl. Name wouldn't have to be Kid, would it? My blood froze at the quiet front in the voice behind me. Well, I'm just making this up as I go along. Don't tell me you actually did all that stuff. And when I turned around, I found my neck caught in the kid's hands. How did you find out? How? I couldn't answer her. I couldn't even breathe. I praised myself for a slap across the cheek. Before it came, Grisbell called out to stop her. He whispered a few words in her ear and handed her a small bag. Her eyes glittered with stars, and she looked very pleased with herself indeed. Kid, turn to me and Major. Right, let's hurry up and kill things so we can have some of this here tea. So Grisbell had won her round with a special blend. She must have really liked the stuff. Then again, it was like her to have her head turned by next to nothing. Oh, and don't forget this, said Grisbell. Don't forget. Before she ran off without getting what we came for. The key, as promised. I took it from Grisbell's hand. In fact, we left the room, or should I say, we were dragged out by a very excited kid. We stopped our tracks with this clearly tingling. Rachel and I were right behind her, immediately realized that something was very wrong. Here, a faint whispering as if a spell were being cast. Uh-oh. The faint light was emanating from a monster-sitting crouch on the flagstones ahead. Oh, this again. Unbuddy figure traced strange shapes and styles. A demon! Put my knife and ready myself to confront it. I waited to see what it would do. I was steering carefully, keeping a tight grip on my knife. Major did waste a moment, and let rip it with a spell. All the flames slid into the creature. He could smell the stench of burnt flesh. He and his eyes reddened and it bared its fangs. Cursed whispers filled the air. It was casting a spell. I took a defensive stance. I turned quickly backward and braced myself for the impact. And I heard a horrid croaking all around me. I glanced around to see the walls daubed in a lurid green. No, they weren't painted green. Toads! Kid jumped up with surprise and horror. The walls absolutely covered with toads. Their green hides a mess of worse and red and yellow speckles. Oh, there's bloody toads! Bloody everywhere! I looked more and more desperate as her horror and revulsion mounted. One of the toads leapt off the wall towards her. No, no, leave me alone! Stop! No! She was too mad by fear. The menace looking words on the toad emitted an orange mist of hissing sound. It was going thicker and thicker. My stomach began to turn. And then the darkness was set ablaze by Magel's fire magic. The fire spread and covered the ground, protecting us from the demon's illusions. And in fact, the toads vanished, and kids looked terrified. Beyond the pool of fire, the demon was drawing more sigils in the air. A complex figure began to take shape. Ah, kid! I yelled as we jumped back. The forehead started to melt, and it was hot like a bottom of a saucepan over a roaring flame. Beads of sweat started to trickle down my face. They dropped to the floor when I sizzled and erupted into puffs of steam. Mage, do something! Screamed Kid. The demon fled the wings, conjuring up a strong wind that blew out the flames. And peppered with countless needles of ice, Major quickly responded with another fire spell. Fresh flame spread out like a net. The fire spell instantly melted the ice needles, reducing it into light mist, and still burning as hot as ever, the flame surged toward the demon. He howled as the flame engulfed it. His flesh melted, and acrid burning smell filled the air. Whew. I thought my goose was cooked down for a minute. Kid realized she was dripping with sweat and muttered a grumpy complaint. Cool up the fire smells, will ya? Tessie had trained me a stamina. But after the way Kid reacted to toads, I was more worried about her than me. You alright, Kid? What do you mean? I was trying to act as if the toad incident had never happened. But I knew it had. To think that she was frightened of something so silly. I stifled a laugh. I said, what's that? There's a leather bag on the ground, containing a sparkling gem. Now we're talking. Kid's face lit up with joy. Nice fine, Sarge. What a beaut. Kid touched it away, leaving me to settle for the compliment. I was a mess. My body was screaming with pain, and I felt like I might pass out any moment. If I took more punishment from Minx's minions, my night was going to be over pretty soon. Hey, it's such a strong collateral. Let's go to show. Old widow can make something of themselves if they put their mind to it. Kid's eyes glowed with mischief. Okay, well, at least she's impressed. We went to the room and took a left turn down the corridor. Followed it for a while before coming to an intersection. Way to the right ended in a staircase going up, where continued directly ahead, but the way was completely enshrouded in darkness. Huh. Do we just not have the ability to save here? Oh, okay, it's the Y button. I forgot how the save works. Gotta explore thoroughly. Followed the corridor for a while before coming across a small door. Who knows what's that? Somebody smells good. Look for kids sniffing the air. Ellie? Meow. Please, you can't lay in my arms. I'm gonna be moving them around a lot. Lay in my lap, though. As long as you're good. Go inside. Open the door. Blimey, this is a small kitchen. Must be for the servants, commented Major. I scanned the surroundings. Base of her washing dishes, cooking utensils, some food made ready for tomorrow, and a mouse trap. Looked like any other commoner's kitchen. He walked over to a large pot filled with food and peered inside. I was feeling hungry. It suddenly appeared into the pot. It looked like stew. It didn't smell bad at all, almost inviting. Scooped it up with a ladle and brought it to my mouth. Well, get decided whether it was delicious or revolting. That's delicious. Out of a bowl. Kid urged between bites, looking at me again, staring at me intently in fact. Like he was searching for something. Green, nothing. Guess it's safe. Alright, let's have a try. The lips with anticipation and swiped my spoon right out of my hand. Hesitate. Mage! No! Took out the bowl from nearby and began spitting out more. I did the same. Later filled, still warm. Pull this up with magic of mushroom cooking was easing my wound somewhat. Cool. Suddenly a little voice rang out. You there, the young man with the braid. He froze. Oi, who calling the bloke? Kid sparked anger in the direction where the voice was coming from. I was looking at him, eyes like saucers from the inside of a mashup hanging from the wall in the corner of the room. Oh, I'm sorry. You're a young lady, I see. Miles got his head in an apology. Please, kind young lady, you must hear me out. Put his paws together and stared pleadingly at Kid. Go ahead and say it again. That's defying food for my mother, but you see, I managed to get myself caught in a trap. If you leave me here, I will surely be eaten by goblins. What? Oh, but automatically. That's what the... I beg of you, please, free me from this trap. My mother is sick, and she'll be terribly worried what has become of me. He must have clearly begging for his life, but there was also an odd glint in his eye. Meanwhile, Kate was at the stake. Blurf. Oh, I'm never gonna get that taste out of my mouth. I'll be buggered if I'm hanging around here any longer. Return for the stake. Only a stamp. Off toward the door. She was looking very green around the gills. Kindly young lady, yeah, I don't suppose you could free me first. You got yourself into the river. You sort out yourself. He almost spat on the crowd as she left the room. My eyes welled up as it looked at me. Please, you're my only hope. Seems sus. Yeah, never trust the mouse. Alright, we have things to do, right? I'm falling after Kid. So I come back this way later and free the poor little thing if I could. Or stretch out right at the kitchen. We traced our steps. I hope saying it was delicious is not going to hurt my rep of Kid that much. It's really hurting my rep with Ellie. Ellie? Moving room behind for the food. Right down the corridor. Followed for a while before coming to an intersection. There's a staircase. It's one of the stairs. Taking the lead, we started to climb the air staircase. Get on. Okay, go to the cell. Rattle. Okay, stop this. There's something here. Listen carefully. Rattle, rattle up. Appear in the darkness on the other side of the corridor. Uh-oh. It's a skeleton! We hear ourselves for a fight. Ellie, please. If you're gonna be grumpy like this, that's the situation. We're up against the skeleton. It threw the sword it was carrying to the ground and took a step forward. I twisted its body to a strange pose. Wait, is it doing what I think it is? City contort herself further without the shape being scared as Highly suggestive. No one knew quite how to respond. What the bloody hell? Should we? Wait, kid, look at me! Fatal seemed completely bewitched. There's no way he'd be any used to the state. What are we gonna do? Dang it! Okay, it's not a bug about what. Handle it. Go towards the creature. Skeleton brought down the sword. He can't nimbly dodge sidestep to the left, take advantage of her momentum and kick over to the side. Well, in the spine, close to the waist anyway. But the shadows the cells in his two halves. You did it! Piece of cake! Cello wasn't quite done yet though. Supporting his upper back with his hand, he quickly picked himself back up. And with his right hand and flung his sword at me. Duck under it. Horse hip, right, was saying only one but before. Whew, that was close. Take this! Kid restart skeleton and shattered the skull with a mighty kick. Both of the upper bodies fell to the floor and then finally lay still. Okay. You're right, Serge? I think so. That's dealt with. Now! Turn back to Rachel. Can't believe my drawing this stronger though. Fleck, she put her fist down hard on his head. And I'll wake you up. Now, we're done here, let's get a bloody move on. What was I? Oh, ow! Starting to feel a little worse for wear. Okay. Huh? Claudia rose up around her feet as if crawling blindly through the darkness. Soon seemed like the kind of place anyone in their right mind would visit voluntarily. We pushed the heavy iron door the rest of the way open and stepped into the darkness. There's a row of cells all locked behind iron bars. 1, 2. Oh, Gulliver, Megid, Donna, forgive me, please, please forgive me. Oh, Gulliver, Megid, Saronda, please forgive me, please, please forgive me. There's a voice from the first cell, whimpering and crying pathetically. I strained my eyes to look inside. In the darkness, I could see something that looked like a man sitting on the floor. So that was the sound of the voice. Oh, you're right, mate. Dang, why is the audio cutting out so much for me? Cut out to the figure. Forgive me, it's all my fault. It's my fault. Dragoons never deserve this. Sure, Lady Riddell. Oh, forgive me. I beg of you. The old man didn't seem to respond to us at all. He only sat facing the wall, begging forgiveness for who knew what. Can you hear me? Asked Kid, trying again. There'll be no getting through to him. His real self will have long retreated inside the shell he has created, said Rachel, cutting her off. Shell, what do you mean? I asked. Is it the freaking Bluetooth or is it like the way it's processing this particular sound combination? Yeah, what do you mean? I asked. He's built a shell around the corner of his psyche in order to shield himself from the truth. He's running from something terrible. He has seen something, or been through something, or has done something. And so he has created his own world on the inside as a final refuge. Outside would world lost to him forevermore. I hope this isn't cutting out for you guys. I looked at Rachel in surprise. I had detected a hint of unspoken sadness in his words. And for some reason he was looking at Kid, watching over her as she stared at the man in the cell. Seeming to notice my gaze, Rachel turned back to face me, assuming his usual emotional expression once more. We live in the world of sorrow and foolishness. It's only inevitable that some would try to escape it. But despite his hard words, his eyes retain a certain softness, his steely gaze giving way to a gentle light. Do you understand? I think so. I gave a slightly evasive answer. You seem confused. I don't blame you. You'll come to understand eventually. Richard looked at me and Kid. What was that all that about? I wondered. We're not gonna get much out of him. He's miles away. Just leave him and try someplace else. Kid made for the door of the dungeon. Wait, called Rachel. We must find some way to get this man to speak. What for? I mean, he's speaking already. That doesn't make sense. What are you after? Something he said piqued my curiosity. He mentioned the dragoons and Riddell too. He said that the dragons were. So he said the dragons are ancient history. Snapped Kid. Says, how can you trust anything he says? He's clearly gone off his rocker. She had a point. The old man had long since cut his ties to the real world. What did Major expect him to say? Without missing a beat, Major replied, we simply had to bring him back to reality. Whoop, to ghost gravity. Mom spaghetti. Did you dance for him or something? If Pegasus motor going, uh, uh, I knew if I said anything, I'd get nothing but an earful of a lifetime in return, so I clapped my hands over my mouth to save myself. What are you playing at, Sarge? Kid said unimpressed. Phew, that was a close one. I don't think that would work, said Rachel dryly. His fist flew straight towards his face. Rachel shifted his weight effortlessly, avoiding the attack and continued. You must break through the shell he has created and drag him back to the real world. In order to do that, we will need some kind of key, something that will bring him even though through the barrier he has erected. Where we're going to find this key? Asked Kid suspiciously. I don't know, came Rachel's simple reply. But there is someone in the matter who can tell us. You don't mean you're not talking about Riddell, are you? I am, Rachel replied with a nod. Right, fine. Don't know what the heck you expected her to tell us, though. Kid turned on her heel and made for the door. A gibbering old man in the dungeon alone with his sorrow. Okay, and Rachel out into the corridor. Might be Radius. Um, I'm thinking at this point I've seen enough that I'm probably gonna give a positive for all three of the main characters, or like a positive each. Um, a po- Surge is gonna get a positive here, and he's not gonna get a positive in the main game, which is interesting. Oh, the remake. Um, for kind of what I can say about Kit, like I also feel like she has a little more personality, a little more characterization here than in Chrono Cross. I mean, part of it's just due to the nature of the medium. She is effectively the same character in both. It's just that you get a lot more inter-character interaction, um, and banter and um, again, I think a lot of it has to do with Surge actually being a character and everyone already having like a sense of having a backstory, and a rapport, um, that has built up over some amount of time, and that just makes Kid a lot more likable and enjoyable as the character here. Um, then in the main game, by memory. I mean, we'll see when we get to the main game how much I end up liking or disliking Kid. Um, I think also could give a force positive for the rapport between the characters. I feel like that's like Also, I think the fact that I like Major, even though he literally tried to kill us in one of the endings, and succeeded in killing us, apparently. Um, um, Dang it. I think Cordell's upstairs. Dang it. I can't remember where Cordell's room is. Oh, there we go. Found ourselves in a tidy, welcoming room. The knickknacks and curious dotted around the place seemed to be well loved. Daily desk is a cozy looking bed nearby. Meanwhile, suggested the room's occupant was no stranger to luxury. The room was richly furnished. Somehow, it still felt awfully lonely. Someone there, came the voice of a young woman. We shrank into the shadows. She is incredibly blurry. What appears from deeper within the room. She was lightly made up, and a gentle, unthreatening air about her. This is where I'm pretty sure we could reaffirm my earlier negative about how poorly they upscaled the graphics. It was Lynx's daughter. Strange, I'm sure I heard someone. I was at a loss of what to do for a moment before I had time to do much but hold my breath. Kid had already darted over. Pressed her knife out, stopping the blade only a hair's breadth from the woman's neck. Where's the frozen flame? Answer me! The voice came out in a harsh growl. I rushed and held Kid back before she hurt the poor woman. Kid, do we really have to do it this way? Shut your trap, Serge! Lil couldn't help but giggle as she watched the flickering. What are you laughing at? Kid shot Rodell a harsh look. It's just, you don't seem like thieves at all. You little, you want me to cut you, girl? I'd be surprised if a knife cutter could cut anything. For a moment, I felt faint, imagining Rodell on the floor covered in blood. But then Glenn, Kid had thrown her knife to the floor, and I saw that it was only a letter opener. Didn't think you noticed. Whatever, I'm not here to mess around killing them after you anyway. I have no sign for bloodshed either, said Riddell, in a voice that was almost a whisper. I'm not your enemy. In fact, I want to help you. There was a hint in hesitation or deception in her voice. I'll be guess you're trapped in the manor too. Riddell only lowered her eyes sadly in response to the kid's question. He does look a little bit like Harley Quinn. Or Harl, I guess. Because for copyright reasons. Um, Frozen flame should never be allowed to fall into Link's hand. Will spoke quietly, but deep emotion clearly underpinned her words. Japan was once the property of an ancient kingdom to the north, who kept it for generations. It was said to have the uncanny power to guide people and change history itself. After the kingdom fell, the flame changed hands countless times until eventually it came into my father's possession. That was before I was born. Sometime later, Lynx became aware of the flame's true value and approached my father under false pretenses of friendship. Now I still suspected what his true intentions were. And then on a horrible day, he destroyed everything. He killed everything. Brazil shook her head and buried her face in her hands. I don't care about the frozen flame. Ellie? Are you... I don't care what that stupid curse has done. It means nothing to me. I just want to take it away from Lynx and smash it to pieces right in front of him. And only we can make that happen. Brazil looked up with surprise as Major spoke. No one in the world conceives that jewel from Lynx. Brazil stared speechlessly. And in a low voice he whispered, "What can I do to help you?" As a survivor of the Acacia Dragoons in a dungeon, we want to help. If we're to help him, we need your help. We need your help. Put the emphasis for her. Said Major, take a step forward. What, that man? That man is a traitor. It's because of him that Father, that Zoranda. Please, it's the only way. But he turned it back to us and hung her head low. But there we go, there's a better image. It's still blurry, but Chamber Depth, there might be something to bring him back to his senses there. After all, it was there that he chose to abandon his pride, his life. I think the Chamber of Death must be the cell of the trap ceiling. Don't know it. That's gonna be a problem, Stony Kid. That thing damn near killed us the last time. You need to take the Ionizer with you. Its thickest sword said they've been forged by an ancient sage, and a sister blade to the crimson called Masamune. Timeless blessings of the Ionizer will surely help keep you safe from the Chamber of Death's wickedness. Kind of be such a sight. Used to be a sight to see in the hands of Zoranda. It danced like the wind, shone like the stars, and it struck like lightning. Lost again in memories of fonder times, Rodell once more bowed her head. Forgive me. I have little more to tell you. You'll tell us more than enough. We'll take our leave now. Take our leave now, said Major, turning and making for the door. I wish I had the strength to change things like you do, whispered Rodell, biting her lip. He hesitated for a moment, seemingly deep in thought. It ain't about strength, it's about having a purpose, something to fight for. I'll be praying for you. He shot Rodella look over her shoulder. Ellie, can't you just behave for just once? You can cross your fingers too. He left the room. So we have the Ionizer now? I take it. Please. I don't need your negativity right now. So information positive for the scene with Rodell. I was thinking of giving of trying to critique the combat, but I kind of need to die to losing health first, or not die. So I believe goes to the terrace. Let's see what we if there's any like more dialogue. First, you started to learn how to get your hands dirty, ain't you? Because people really can change if they put in the effort. Because I showed up an image playfulness. Well, she hadn't seen anything yet. We should go back inside. We're here for fun and not a danger. So that. But, okay. I'm probably give a positive for the terrace dialogue. Okay. Um. Right. Okay. So how do we get the Islander? We need to check. Check. We need to check Lake's room again. Main hall. Found anything in here before? Okay, it was busy depicting an intimidating old man. Was suddenly his eyes suddenly widened. He stuck his tongue at me. Now I just seeing things again. That way because of how the full line the kettles. That's the oil pits. I mean. That could totally happen, right? Definitely. Okay, maybe. Okay, there's still nothing in here for us. Okay. I don't think there's a lot of information here. I might have to give a negative. Like, there's a degree to which I believe, yeah, like I already gave a positive, but that the directions you choose from become more detailed as you explore. But there's a degree to which they're not um, detailed enough. Like, there's a layout to this place. Um, like there's like the bedrooms or whatever. I believe. This is Link's room. So like, I think they could have done a little bit more. There's the way about hiding Link, yelled Kid as she pushed into the room. When is Link's here? Called after her, panicking. I turned around to see no one else but us. Where is he? We're standing there, clearly not in any danger at all. It was a joke, idiot! All the strength drained from my body. But it was serious, did you? Kid trying hard not to laugh. Or try not to laugh too hard. I bet you would live an easy life rather than sit around after me, eh? Your face! I ignored her to walk over to the mirror to trade look like a silk cloth. I can pray, and sorry about all the noise. As she beat in the mirror, giggled back at me. That's quite alright, Serge. What is your desire? Came the husky alto. Anyway, your spot. I checked up. I checked was here. With such entries, your friend will become envious. She giggled mischievously. You what? Kid, her voice completely fat. And why would I be envious? There's no need to get upset. I have a gift for you. Oh yeah? What? I call that. You see, I thought you you'd be maybe interested to see what it was like inside the mirror. Us to their own mirrors? Kid's interest was suddenly piqued. Won't take much of your time. Come on. Kid, step aside. Step into the mirror ripple like water. I might give a negative for limited save slots. For a visual novel, this is kind of unacceptable. For at least for an update of a visual novel. It's probably just because of the I'm not sure. I'd really have to um I'm not sure if I still have a strategy guide. I know the strategy guide I had for Chrono Cross is incredibly beat up. I may have just like thrown out ultimately. It also happens to be one of the first things I ever bought from Amazon. But it'd be interesting to see how accurate the how accurately they recreated Viper Manor in Chrono Cross based on. I kind of doubt it because there's lots of locations in Viper Manor that just aren't in this version of the game. Reached out her hand toward the glass and hesitated. She deliberated for a moment before finally pulling it back. You go first, Serge. You're her favorite. Are you sure? Kate nodded. Filled with excitement, I pressed my hands to the mirror. Her voice was cool, like cool water on my fingertips. No, Serge, you mustn't. Suddenly cracks formed in the glass. I gasped. What's happening? Touching the mirror was weeping. I wish you weren't so trusting. I forgot that I serve links. What? I blurted out. I meant to trap you and your friends. The mirror grew bigger, splitting up into more and smaller cracks. That is not all. I foresaw you coming long ago, and I learned links of it. But why? You were imprisoned here by links, weren't you? Gasped beside Major. Actually, Venus mourned, nodded mournfully. Ellie, I really you're getting in the way, and you tend to be grumpy when you get on my lap, especially while I'm streaming. You sealed the path to mirrors beyond, preventing me from leaving the manor. Were someone to shatter all the mirrors within the manor's walls, I would be doomed. I would vanish, separated from my siblings forever. Eventually, as she raised his head. But I can't stand to be at his mercy anymore. The cracks deepened further, and the shards of glass began to fall to the floor. Stop, I can't let you do this, I yelled, grabbing the mirror, turning with both hands. This is what I want. Lynx will not suffer me to live after betraying him, said the image in the mirror, looking at me. But why are you trying to help us? Will that be your final question, Serge? Something in his voice felt like the trace of a smile. Well, the truth is Then the mirror finally split from top to bottom. Image's lips moved gently, but no words came. I tried to scream, but I could do little more than whimper. I took a shard of glass from the floor and gripped it tightly in my hand, and blood got all over the place. Serge, behind me, Kit was softly calling my name. I gave a slight nod and slowly turned around. Let's go. As I left the room, I turned to look at the back one last time, my eyes coming to rest on the remains of the mirror. I'd never be able to hear her voice again. I turned around and left the room. I have no idea where we can find the idle answer. Unless we have to. Uh, touching scene. I just don't know what it's doing. Give it information pauses for the scene. Mirror spirit? I don't remember what she called herself. So I feel like I'm at a dead end here. Because I thought that Lynx's room would be like where we might find the islands or. I'm gonna try to look up a walkthrough and then determine how. Okay. Um. Have to inform my mom that DC's Legends of Tomorrow has been canceled. I remember she liked that show. And, like Batwoman's also been canceled, but she never got into that. So, oh, it's in the clock tower. Here we go. Pistol the grip and reach for the handle. It was completely silent, and there was no sign of life. As I take the duck and turn it to mincemeat. It was right where Kid had left it. Oh yeah, I can't give it a negative because it was told to us earlier. It's just that I waited a week to continue and ran over to where it lay. Looking at the story raised the mother, two ancient blades, the sacred iron lantern, and the curse of Masamune. What are you on, my beige? You know something about the Masamune? I just said nothing. Well, it seems to be something to you. It does. Something to do from old friends I don't know about? Not exactly. An enemy then? Not exactly. How you been, weird mate? Oh, well, oi, numbnut. Get the thing for me, will you? Saying it over by the doorway when the kid called out to me. Who, me? Yeah, you. Oh, what, you're gonna make me lug the bloody figure around all over the place. That's a great little girl, ain't I? Go get yourself a gentleman. My jaw dropped? I knew there wasn't anything I could say to her. So I walked over to the kid and picked up a sword like I was told. Whoa! I nearly fell over. That thing was heavy. Good boy, right up to the chamber of death. Eyes on the prize, lads. Just sort of behind me, I followed the kid out of the room. Oh no, the scream pierced there to turn my blood to eyes. I realized there was a pair of crazed, blood-red eyes were staring into deep. That's my soul. It was a griffin! I tried to slip the knife from my back. Before I could try my weapon, the griffin expressed powerful waves and flew toward me with an almighty screech. Knocked back a stent, rolling across the ground. I gasped as the wind was knocked out of me. Sarge, you okay? I heard by a screaming of pain. I held back the groans and staggered to my feet. I looked up to see the rapid griffin in front of me. Husband's eyes stared down his beak. Like, I'm going to attack. What can I do? I ducked. Damn it! The powerful talent. You striking me with much force. What's wrong? Just search. Pull your head out of your ass. I can't see my eyes snapping open in an instant. Okay, standing me the griffin, trying desperately to draw its attention away from me. I lost consciousness for a moment. I turned on my feet and pulled out a knife and rushed in to help her. I don't think I like the combat system. It's probably just an interaction, negative. I'm probably giving interaction negative for, just the existence of the time limit, because it's becoming more of an irritant. It's probably for a combination of anything that kind of bothers me about the combat system so far. One is not knowing how much health we have left at all. We don't know how many hits we can take. We're given between battles a sense of, oh, you know, we don't feel like we need to be more careful or something. And yeah, that's it. That's control negative. Like, is both information and interaction in a way? So I don't know. Damn it. And I can't. But that's the problem. I can't fold two negatives into one when they're regarding different categories. It's a similar problem to the whole like mouth of truth thing, because it was both an information and an interaction negative, or positive. I mean, here like I'm having a similar issue with a huh. Like, should I give a negative? Or should I give it two negatives? One for each. Should I just lean toward one or the other? Like, which is the bigger problem? I do think that, like, the lack of information is kind of the biggest thing. And granted, the information would be kind of distracting in a way. I might say it probably might be enough to give two negatives. Because I feel like I'm probably gonna give the control / interaction negative for information negative for and maybe even to a lesser extent the lack of a time limit indicator. I'm probably still gonna give a negative for lack of a time limit indicator, because I did argue that like it would be distracting, but at the same time you could add a few seconds to the time limit to compensate for that. And the fact is, the time limit is a little too punishing. And probably just shouldn't be there at all. It's detrimental to the overall design of the game. Because I in multiple instances, I have felt like I barely have enough time to even like consider what I should do, and then I get punished for. Like, granted, this is maybe a bit of a me problem because I am, as the title of my channel indicates, neurodivergent. So I tend to have a tendency to overthink things. This can be fixed by adding actual difficulty and/or accessibility options to, like, basically an active and wait mode for the combat. Chrono Trigger had it. Why not have it here? Anyway, I think I've experienced enough of the combat to basically determine that it's kind of crap. It's interesting, like, to have a text-based adventure with an actual combat system. That's a cool and innovative idea, but it's not very well implemented because they're more concerned with immersion than giving the player information. And even on the immersion end, you should know, like, general idea of, like, how close to death you are at any given moment, like, actively in time. And a health bar would just be a representation of that, of how much you're hurting at a given moment. Seeing the last conscious moment, I scrambled my feet, then pulled out my knife and brushed into Helfer. As the beast's bad red eyes glared at me, I desperately tightened my grip on my knife. Let's just attack. I brushed my grip on the knife and plunged into the Griffin's neck with all my might. Grok! His bite contorted with agony. Through the mad afraid, Griffin shook his head this way and that. He pulled my knife out from his neck and rolled away, pushed his face between us. Don't move! Sarah yelled Kid from behind me. Suddenly she landed on my shoulders and leapt into the air. Crack! Her knee crushed inside of the creature's skull. Making a crunchy sound as I could feel in my bones. It screeched in agony. And it turned its mad, crazed eyes toward me where I lay on the floor, having been used like a springboard for Kid. Just my luck. I was going to attack. What should I do? Jump back. Jump back. It was powerful talons tore for the air right in front of my stomach. I just managed to avoid a lethal blow. As the beast's bad red eyes glared at me, I definitely tightened my grip on my knife. First my grip on my knife and plunged into the Griffin's neck with all my might. Instead of suddenly becoming completely rigid. His eyes rolled to the back of his head and it fell to the ground with an almighty crash. We done it! We actually defeated the Griffin! Whew, I fell on my knees, otherwise overwhelmed by what I had just been through. But that was all over. I was a mess. My body was screaming with pain and I felt like I might pass out at any moment. If I took much more punishment for Link's minions, my night was going to be over pretty soon. That's all we get, is like this general indication between battles of how damaged we are. This is just as creepy as I remember. Lovely, grumbled Kid. She was looking at the stairs on the wall. Stains on the wall. I mean, the ceiling had been pulled back up, but there was no reason to believe it might not come grinding down at any moment. Bearing in mind what Rodella had told us what the room was called, it definitely wasn't somewhere we wanted to linger. Quickly hissed Major before crouching down and examining the floor ground clues. Kid and I crouched down too. What were you even looking for, though? What could the old man have left in this room that would help us bring him back to reality? Whoop, there goes gravity. Oh, yeah, we already did that joke. Um, Fox at the phone was filled with a black gooey substance which gave off an odd, rotten aroma. I shook my head, trying to drive an uncomfortable thought from my mind. Kid saw me and clearly wasn't doing much better herself. She slowly turned, positioning herself so that she was facing away from the stains on the wall. There's no point in feeling that. I just had to try. But then the door slammed shut and the gears ground into life. Here we bloody go again! Let's stop it. If we don't deal with the trap, we'll never find what we're looking for. The ceiling sank lower and lower. We ducked our heads, definitely trying to avoid the blades that jutted out from the bottom. The sword! Use the iron lancer! What? How do you use the sword? I plunged the sword at the kid! There, I drove the sword into the floor to follow my might. A shock ran through the room. Beams of light scattered from the blade, covering the floor and walls, and then racing upward. Suddenly gave an almighty judder and stopped. We made it! I sank to the floor helplessly, my heart racing. Hey, what's that? Kid was pointing up at part of the wall. It is where we've seen the message written in blood. Guess we found what we're looking for. Part of the wall had collapsed, revealing a cavity behind what had looked like a piece of solid stone. Inside, I could see something glinting faintly in the darkness. Kid reached in with her fingertips, carefully extracting whatever it was from within. A slender ring of delicately engraved design that looked like overlapping ferns. The ring was adorned with several small rubies in a pattern that resembled a bunch of grapes. Crest of acacia. It must be an acacia signet. Kid put the ring on her middle finger. Of course, where it sat uneasily. Doesn't seem to be her size. The rubies gave off an eerie glint. Hey, let's not spend any more time here than we have to. Managed to foil the trap and received the acacia signet. I let the lancer where it stood as we exited the room. Yeah, my thought when I did that was that it, it seemed like the correct thing to do because, like, a sword has like a guard on it. You know, excuse me. I'm trying to illustrate. So, like, if we just use the pointy end, that isn't gonna like do much. Like, the idea was that depending on how big the sword is, anyway, um, having the pointy end up wouldn't do as much to keep the thing from coming down on us. Then you have much more stopping power from the guard than the point than the pointy end. I didn't think it was gonna like magically do something like it did for me, like sword and stoning it. But Let's just talk to Kate a little bit more and see. Let me search. You're a dark horse, ain't you? You really had me thinking you were just a winged sook. You ain't seen nothing yet. I think we're about to say we're not here. I think we're on track to get the kid ending, I think. I think it's left. Atrium. As soon as we got there, Rachel stepped forward and grabbed onto the bars. Crichton groaned as he heaved at them, gritting his teeth as he summoned every ounce of his might. Slowly they bowed apart. Shutting himself through the gap, and Kid and I followed. The old man was exactly as we left him, staring into space and muttering meaningless words. Kid walked over to him and crouched down. She got him by the collar and yelled at him. Wakey, wakey, Granddad! Got a few questions for you. Hey, got a knife full of this. Ring any bells, Kid waved the case insignia in his face, shaking him roughly all the while. The old man's head rolled as he limply allowed himself to be panhandled. I asked Rachel to make kid stuff. Dang it, this is going to affect our relationship score. I know it. Like role playing here. It can be between Kid and the old man. She glared at me. In the research, we're here for answers, remember? But really want to help him. You can't check it out now. Look at him. It's not helping him anymore, surely. That all ended for him long ago. And not be so certain. It's not over. It still means still something. He has simply tried to pretend not to see it. Everybody's not over, you say? Took by the man's sudden interruption. We all turned to look at him. Oh, it's not over, you say? The glitter of light had returned to his once vacant eyes. That's right. None of this is over until you make Links pay. And pull out once more. So poor hours finally come for me. I'm to blame. It's because of my indiscretion that the frozen flame was stolen, and that all the Acacian dragons only Iron Maiden here in the manor. Now all is well, for you have returned. Old Melgid, Saranda, where have you been all this time? Did you all return to the stock? Mind that, Granddad. Where's the frozen flame? Give us a clue, anything. Come on, out of it. I couldn't decide if Kit sounded more annoyed or more desperate. The frozen flame, the old man momentarily confused. And then, one smile crossed his face. My word, Lady Riddell, it's been far too long since I had the pleasure. Why, you turned the fourth candlestick from the left as you enter the main hall. That would open the underground vault, as you know. Kate wrapped her arms around the old man and held him tight. Then, in a trembling voice, she whispered, "I'm sorry. I promise we'll get it back." Oh, God! The old man recoiled in her hair and began to sob once more. "I am to blame. It's all my fault. Forgive me. Forgive me." "Look, if you want to get out of here, now's your chance." It was no use. He was too busy cowering and wailing to hear me. "We're done here, Sarge. We can't help him. And there's things we need to be doing." "Thank you," I whispered to the old man before following Kid and Major out of the dungeon. Mm. I want to see what happens if we do the other. We have Major intervene instead. Potential horror. Is how we're going to break through a shell? Turned out the approach is as good as any. But do we even have the right to drag the poor man back into reality like this? Hasn't he suffered enough? Or do anything to achieve our goal? It just stared right through me. It was an ice cold gaze. "Oh, Casey sickness. Who of us bestowed upon only upon spoiled Casey and Dracula's?" A low voice, almost a moan. I spun around in surprise. I began to cloud once more. The former allies had finally come for me. And, okay. As you know. I'm gonna give a positive to the scene with the old man. I'm sure we should giving it as so many positives for these scenes. Come on. Made our way for the corridor. Something cold landed on me from above. My hand up to my hair and felt a quease-inducing sliminess. There were slugs under my head toward where it come from, and the massive, disgusting creatures hit me full on the face. Blur. As fast as I could brush them off, more of them landed on me, and raining slugs! Hallelujah! Wait, that's. They got obliquely around my feet. They crawled all over me, and I flailed and flapped as I tried to shake them loose. Okay, back the way we came. As we turned, we saw the entire corridor was of writhing, massive creatures. The floor was made of sharp repulsion running down my spine. And I trampled over that little comfort of gross. I shook her head violently, clearly far from amazed. But the more we stood there wondering what to do, the more they kept piling up. Uh, pick our way through them? I precautionary way and threw myself down the teeming corridor. Then they just, well, I stay here on my own. Kid clearly was at a loss of what to do as she seemed barreled after me. Clouds rained down or around our ears as we ran, and oh how we ran! We hammered along as if our lives depended on it. As we went oozing juices and slugs, we traveled, sprayed and splattered all over us. Our feet were soon soaked with the stuff. Whoa! A kid smashed into me from behind. The two of us went flying and landed on the floor in a heap. Down your compass, the officer. She comes at me for a massive slug ooze. I tried to stand, but they kept on falling. I still turned developed into a deluge. When the verge of giving up, it was almost more than either of us could take. They're up to our knees now. We're waiting for them, desperately trying to make some headway. We didn't dare talk for fear of them falling into our mouths. And as if we didn't have enough problems already, a single solid massive slug matter suddenly reared up ahead of us. Wait, it's people-shaped. And soon enough, a humanoid form emerged, clutching looked like an enormous scythe. I was at the one side, wished near toward me, but low and dodged to avoid the attack. I was alright. I only cracked my clothes. I still had to be on my guard. Bloody demons back in! The creepy stuff was an illusion. So it just appeared like smoke. The demon was still here, right beside him again, and began inching to us. What was I going to do? Moving carefully, keeping a good tie in my knife. Angel didn't waste a moment and let rip a spell. Defensive stance. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. They're not real, kid. I said, what's that? There's a little bag of ground, taking a sparkling gem. Great. Another one of these. Great. Yep, that solidifies the negatives I've already given. Screw this game. there are enough ways to heal. The encounters are random. Maybe they've given a control negative for the lack of player controlled. Like healing is driven instead by events that we encounter and making particular choices during those events. Like I imagine that drinking the tea would have healed us. Eating the food would have healed us. Did heal us. Finding the lady in the. It is sort of player driven, but it is not enough. It's based upon events that aren't exactly random, but might as well be random. It's a form of what Lore Runner would perhaps call walk-for-rightus, where you have to know where all the healing opportunities are and strategically encounter them at the right times when you need healing. That is not good game design. This is the kind of paint, a dim, flickering light sending the corners of the room dancing in and out of shadow. The great hall was filled with heavy silence, a silence unbroken save for the ticking of a large clock that slowly counted to the passage of time as if waiting for something. Several portraits glared down at us with cold eyes when we moved through the fabled glow of the candles. Put a candlestick to the left, whispered Kid. 1, 2, 3. There. She reached out towards it, held her breath as I watched. Say your prayers, Lakes, we're coming for you. Kid turned the candlestick. Which showed with a sudden rhythmic rumbling sound as if a massive gear was turning. The room felt a strange sensation as if I was floating. You feel that? I started to stagger. The entire room seemed to be moving downward, came the reply from Rachel. I couldn't quite believe it, but I also couldn't deny the feeling of downward motion. The main hall was sinking into the earth. Then another rumble. The room descent rapidly accelerated. Cold sweat dripped from my back. My heart filled with a mixture of fear and anticipation. What was waiting for us down there? Frozen Flame, our prize in the adventure, but what was it really? Would it live up to our expectations? I tied my fists, which were sick of sweat. More Kid Mitchell faking. The room remained veiled in silence, except for the noise. As if in response to my thought, a quiet voice came from next to me. Sometimes it was Kid. I looked over to see her standing stiffly, staring forward with her hands clenched in the fists. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a losing battle, a fight I'll never win, no matter what I do. It was a sight of her I had never witnessed before. Even from this angle, I could see fear and doubt flickering across her face. I felt a tender sting in my heart. We'll win, I promise. There's nothing to worry about. We'll win in the end, I promise. Headstrongo. She gave a gentle smile. Can't promise anything in this world, Serge. There are no guarantees. But thanks anyway. She grinned again, seeming a little embarrassed, and looked me straight in the eye. And I had the strange sensation this wasn't Kid, or not the only kid anyway. I was overwhelmed by the inexplicable oddness of the idea. She noticed immediately, of course, and our little moment was over. The kid I knew was back in the room. Trying to catch flies, mate? I'm sorry. Somewhere there I felt like you were someone else. What are you on about? Kid gave me a confused look, tilting her head. Because we were drawing near the frozen flame, Rachel's voice, as soft as ever, stood unbidden from the shadows. What are you two on about? Kid turned towards him with another puzzled frown. There was another self within you, struggling against the pull of the abyss. What had she been talking about? A crash filled the as if we collided with something. Screech! A low metallic screaming filled the air. The room rocked and finally came to a halt. Looks like the end of the line. I'll try! I'll change. The swelling grandeur of the organ suddenly filled the air. No one had much as touched it, but the keys and metals were moving by themselves. The melody it played was both unsettling and sad. Chrono tune, is it? What'd the creature guess? Took a long stretch forward and turned to face me and Major. Come on, let's go. Major and I gently nodded our assent. Kate grinned and turned back to the door. Come on, pretty Lynx. This is the end for you. But she led us through the hall. I hope we get another heal. Because otherwise, like, there's a fair chance we're just screwed at the very end of the game. Down a long, dark corridor, the walls slick with condensation. Air was thick and heavy, as though ripe with the stench of death. We're really getting close to this hidden vault at last? Or were we getting? And was there any turning back now for any of us? Anything strange about Kid that night. Major didn't seem to be his usual self either. To begin with, it was vanishingly rare for him to speak so much, let alone to show any kind of emotion. What happened to make him change like that? Unable to take the silence anymore, I decided to speak. I had to ask him the question. It had been in my mind all this time. What is the frozen flame? Is the frozen flame really just a jewel? There's only silence in return. And then, when it seemed like no one would reply at all, Major spoke. His low voice echoed in the corridor. It is a stone that cures all ills, heals all wounds, and grants eternal life. So some still believe. In truth, it is part of a tremendous rock that fell from the skies long ago. The rock was the source of a hitherto unknown power, with which mankind's hidden potential was unlocked. You could say that it was humanity's dreams made manifest. But it's not always good to have one's dreams come true. Many were lit by that great power, some were led astray by it. It even led to a kingdom's ruin, a kingdom once prosperous, now little more than fragments and dust, its name lost to history. For a moment, I heard a hint of pain and sadness in Major's voice, and maybe it was just my nerves. Wait, how do you know all this, Major? He said nothing. He only stared at me with his piercing dark eyes, and then continued onward in silence. For a while, only the sound of footsteps echoed in the corridor, and then Kit gave a doubtful hunk. Look, I don't know if all this stuff about the frozen flame is true or not. Neither here nor there to me. He raises a fist. We had to settle the skull of Lynx by nicking the thing. And it's all I know. It's all I want to know. It was like seeing in the frozen flames. Why had it been worth risking so much for? We trudged on down the dark pathway, each of us alone with our thoughts, concentrating on my footsteps lessened the burden and worried somewhat, and felt a renewed vigor to a degree. Heal? Heal? Are we getting a heal? Suddenly he makes a step in his tracks. Wait. Huh? He turned around, puzzled. And then a powerful light surged across the floor, and a ring-shaped sigil appeared. Damn it, a blood circle! Kid and Major were at least quick enough to try and jump clear, but they weren't quick enough, and the three of us were trapped in a circle of blinding light. Whoa, Surge looks really different in this timeline. We rotated left and right. We must consider cutting off all routes of escape. It also feels like all the mode 7 or I don't know which mode it is technically. I guess it's probably would be mode 7 in the original. It feels like mode 7. It's a little blurry, but it looks more pixelated. Maybe it's because of how it was upscaled or. The central rotate left and right was at the center, cutting off all routes of escape. God, we're trapped! A wall of heat and wind blew up around us, and swirling wind spirals of light assailed us wherever we turned. It's probably the best looking graphic in the game. Don't let the night mesmerize. You cover your eyes, shouted Major, raising a hand over his mask. Tug with the light, not against it. There has to be a way out. What? I barely even understand what's going on. His elbow brushed against the wall of light surrounding us, sending sparks lighting. Ugh! Be careful, my touch is more than enough to harm you. Stay well back. I started to turn my body to follow the rings of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Crap. Right? 3 times? There, I see it. That's our way through. From the gap, and the wall of light is effectively walk through it. Kid, Rachel, this way. I managed to get through the barrier unscathed. We weren't out of the woods yet. There was still another wall of light, swirling with a great wind in front of us. I turned my body to follow the movements of the ring of light, looking for a gap to escape through. Right price? Do we... I think we have time to... in this case. So but then it unless it requires us to 1, 2, 3. Right 3 times, then it's a double thing. First steps to the right. Okay, no. Great. But that brilliant see a catches upon the face of an angel, her eyes filled with sorrow. Surge! And that was how I died. I stand by the negative that I have already given to it. Combat and health system is complete and utter bullshit. Or the stairs? Damn it, I... I need to save again. Give a, I'm about to give a negative for this sequence. Like, it looks cool, but it's unless it's like it might be that the recent right was the first stage, and it's always doing that. Oh, I can't save here. That's great. Out of frickin' choice, we can't save. What are you fighting? What are you fighting against? Good question. Fate, maybe? Life, even? Not sure I can put my finger on it exactly. It ain't Lynx. I mean, sure, I'm here to fight him, but that's different. It ain't clear cut like that. Feel like there's another me inside me, one that just sitting there looking out at how empty and pointless everything I do is. That's the best way I can describe it, anyhow. Can't listen to me. Load of bloody nonsense, eh? She smiled ruefully. I didn't know exactly what she meant, but I felt like I knew broadly what she was getting at. She may have looked talked up. Underneath it all, she felt fear and uncertainty, like the rest of us. I mean, that was no great revelation in and of itself, but hearing her say it out loud gave me a strange sense of relief. I still had a sidelong glance at her. Her expression was different, more mature somehow. Sorry, mate, you didn't need to hear that. That's exactly me trained by brand of carefree banter, eh? He stuck out her tongue. Normal service had presumed. Had been presumed. I was sort of seen for a second. Thanks, Serge. And you, Mag, he said, suddenly serious again. Couldn't have made it this far about you both. Why can't I frickin' save? So we don't, after this I mean, we don't get another chance to, huh? You know what, forget it. She closed her eyes and forced a smile. This morning I caught a flicker of a grin across Rachel's face too. He's standing there just at the edge of my field of vision, arms crossed and eyes closed. It was just my imagination. Upon the blade of silence descended as the hall continued its journey down into the bowels of the manor. The crash split silence as if we collided with something. Another metallic scraping filled the air. Room locked and finally came to a halt. Can we save now? For frig's sake. I don't think there's an alternate save that would just define control. There's no actual fun. There's just auto text. Only way to go as fast as it can. And we save. Let us save. Why? I may have to give a negative. I think that codifies it. The inconsistent ability to save. gonna ask what the Frozen plane is again. I have no idea when we're gonna be able to save again. If it's like right at the friggin' like next choice or what? Or if I missed the chance to save right before that last choice. Like if I die again, I don't know if I'm gonna feel like going through all this shit again. I can't save! I'm going to friggin' look up a fucking walkthrough. A fucking... We have white? Double circle? It's look called Gil. In this version, or in oh, if we freed the rat in the kitchenette, it would although it then turns into Griffin and attacks us. But it would actually tell us what the directions are. Is it randomly generated? I'm not sure what, Right, just tell me what the solution is. I'm not sure what to... Right, 3 times. Barrier? Look at the barrier. What's his status? He left twice and right twice. That's kind of stupid. It's kind of my bad though for not receiving the rat. It's just I don't trust the DM. I don't trust the GM enough. At least they didn't give us a time limit. Okay, suddenly my body felt light. I started 2 or 3 steps forward. We were back in the deserted passageway we'd been walking down before the blood circle had appeared. The sigil had vanished from the floor, and everything was silent, as if nothing had been amiss. Then I looked up. It was like, you finally made it, boys. Kate strolled up to the door and with a wicked grin on her face. A true frozen flame of light awaits. Agent's eye gave a glint from behind his mask like glass, catching moonlight in the darkness of night. Let's go. Kid reached for the handle. Healing? Healing. Please. Healing. I need to heal. Kid narrowed her eyes, straining to see her surroundings in the darkness. Give me a frickin' save! Why can't I save? I'm hitting the Y button. Why can't I save? Like, if I game over at any point at this point, I don't think I'm going to have the energy to actually go back for this entire frickin' walls of text. I may have to give it another negative. I don't know what for. It probably would be just for the lack of save points or clear save points at the very end of the game. Vast pitch black expanse surrounded us whichever way we looked. It was as if we'd entered an impossibly vast cave. We were in a place forgotten by time, unknown to the world, hidden deep in the bowels of night. A gentle crimson light hovered in the darkness, a frozen flame. Alright, now it's Oz! Later the frozen flame ebbed and waned gently as if responding to Kid's voice. What the heck is this place? There's mountains of bloody rubble everywhere. Mitch took a step forward into the room and said it in a whisper as almost a groan. No, can't be. Oh, but it is the ruins of a lost kingdom of mages. The voice drifted down from the darkness from above. Kid looked up in shock. Lynx! I'll kick your free beaten ass so hard you'll kiss the moon! She said the thing! I guess there's only one moon in this continuity. Kid pulled her knife from her belt and threw it as hard as she could. Pulled it to the floor of a clang, as if knocked out of the air by some unseen hand. Still the same impetuous child as ever. I see. That's no way to create an old friend. Smarmy bastard! Kid created her grip, her teeth with rage. And you, Shadow Dweller, I'll have none of your tricks this time. You must make me a fool if you believe I'll fall for that again. Major, who had been quietly slipping into the darkness that surrounded us, stopped dead in his tracks. So this was the infamous Lynx. Well, that's a different look. Again, Y button does nothing, as none of the other buttons do anything. Lord of a Studley Manor. Man who murdered the closest thing Kid had to a family, who assassinated General Viper and eradicated the order of the KC Dragoons. A pleasure as always, dear Kid, and I must say, you follow the trail of breadcrumbs I laid for you admirably closely, my greedy little sneak thief. What a bloody... He stepped forward, bristling. Narrowed his eyes as his lips twisted into a snarl. You know what I want, Kid? Give me the stone you carry. Stone? Did Kid have some kind of jewel I didn't know about? Don't know what you're on about, mate. He just about managed to recover her composure, letting her eyes scornfully at her old foe. Tell me the act, child. I know. What, do you have it? I know she gave it to you. Hand over the time egg now. What? Whatever it was, I'd never heard of it. You think I'll give it to the likes of you? Kid shot back. It's all I have left of her. I'll never give it. Let go of it. Not for anyone. And definitely not for you. I'll tell you what's gonna happen, you bastard. First, I'm gonna take the frozen flame, and then I'm gonna ram it down your throat. Coachable young fool. I was hoping this might be a civilized exchange. Alas, it seems my words will only fall on deaf ears, and you are determined to repeat your past errors. And he threw his hand to the grip of an ornate golden saber that hung from his belt. Last time I showed you mercy, and let you leave with your life. That was a mistake, one that I mean to correct. First, Major, stand back! Kid took a step forward, glaring at Lynx, her gaze unflinching. It ends here now. You're paying for what you've done. You're paying for what you did to Luca! Dun dun dun! The scream Kid leapt in the air like a bird taking flight. That's... Foot lashed out. It was... Sky kick aimed right at the side of Lynx's head. But there was no contact. But Lynx had been mere moments before. Now there was only empty space. Kid had immediately launched herself back into the air, putting their full force with the full force of momentum into another kick. The time Lynx leaned back, letting Kid's foot sink past only a hair's breadth from his nose. And then it was Lynx's turn. He lashed out with his saber, carving an arc for the air in front of him. Kid was ready for him, however, and and only already jumped back to a safe distance. The two glared at each other from a mere step apart. At least you had the decency to prepare a little better than last time, Nick purred. A red line appeared on Kid's cheek, slowly coalescing into a drip of blood. Kid! And a flash, she launched herself to yet another attack. He dodged to the side and made a strike her with a hilt of a saber. Kid moved awkwardly to avoid the attack, losing her footing. I'm just gonna. And then Lynx was on her like a bird of prey before she could fully recover. There was a cough as Lynx drove his knee into the pit of her stomach. He collapsed. A steady stream of blood dripped from her lips. Well, that yellow girl! And gave Kid a merciless kick to the side, sending her flying. She landed on a pile of rolls, body rolling until she hit a waterstone pillar. And there she lay, lifelessly still. Kid! Kid! I screamed her name as I charged forward toward Lynx. Major was there already. He flew through the darkness as a part of the shadows before crashing down on Lynx like a bolt from the blue. Lynx jumped back and countless bursts of light flew with his fingertips towards Major. Returning home, the threads of light surround Major, crossing over one another. They spread to form a line of light that gave off a blinding glare and trapped Major where he stood. What is this? Major staggeringly groaned, attempting to shield his eyes with his hands. A simple enough spell, my shadowy friend, for those who kind to learn it, and one which sadly for you leaves no darkness in which to hide. Lynx leered at Major with a venomous grin. You've been quite the thorn in my side, I'll let you live long enough to regret it. Major strongly groaned. I had to do something. Kid and Major needed me. But what was I going to do? I run the Kid. Hey, damn it! What's the matter, Kid? So pulled a moment ago. Aren't you going to keep me entertained? Look down his nose at Kid's broken body. Now, do you want to give me time and still be civilized about this? I'm of course a gentleman, and that it pains me to seize a fair maiden's valuables by force, even if the fair maiden in question is in fact a filthy street rat. Press foot in the Kid's head. I hear a voice, faint and breathless. Salute the stone, that's yours. I'll never give it to anyone. No way will I give it to the likes of you. I couldn't let her get any closer to her. What was I going to do? I ran over to where she lay. She had flat as still collapsed where she had fallen, and blood ran from her mouth. Kid, say something! I crouched down next to her, glancing at her face in a panic. She groaned, and then she began to stir, her face twisted with pain. Serge! It's okay, Kid, I'm here. How touching. Although I would be more concerned about my own well-being if I were you. The voice came from behind me. It felt as if ice water had been poured down my neck. I jumped to my feet and turned around. He was looking down at me with a cold, emotionless stare. In front of the Kids, suddenly no friend of mine, forgive me, but I cannot permit you to leave this place alive. And for a reason, he tried to shot out toward me. Tiny fingers clamped down on my throat. I couldn't breathe. Tiny grip lifted me bodily until my feet were dangling in the air. I felt his talons mercilessly digging deeper and deeper into my neck. Panic filled my mind. Look, Kid, see your friend, see him suffer. This is your doing. This is your hand around his neck. The three was ragged, and blood still dripped from his eyes. Opening eyes, she groggily raised her head, but she couldn't get up. She didn't have the strength. Serge, give me the time egg. Do you even know what it is? I suspect not. Think of it as a concerned pocket of space, a concentrated pocket of space. Person between the tag egg and hat, one can bend the fabric of space and time, rewrite the past. The errors that I mean to correct, mistakes in the past that I must be set right. He stared at motionless eyes, returned to my face. How long before he perishes, I wonder? I struggled to breathe. but could only make choking sounds. Kid screamed my name. I couldn't speak. All I could do was make strange strangled noise with my throat. Then I heard the crunching sound of my neck finally snapping. Oh, come on. I quit! That is another negative to interaction. This is bullshit! This is complete and utter bullshit. Like, the ability to save seems to be completely locked out. Like, unless I'm just doing something wrong or the game is somehow glitched or broken to the point where I can't actually save. I don't know what the hell to do. Like, if I was playing this through a ROM and had save states, I would be completely unhesitating to use save states here. Because this is nonsense. Like, if there was a point, like I said, it was incredibly narrow. It did come out in the mid-90s. Yeah, I can say perfectly here. Pretty sure it was the stairs. Still save. Now, when we enter the main hall, apparently to the end of the game, we have no ability to save. Well, apparently this does, like, accelerate it a bit. At least we have that. I'll give it a positive for the fast forward feature. It's like when I go right down right, I remember it clearly. I'm probably gonna use a walkthrough for the friggin' final confrontation with Lynx. Taking the fact that the fast forward is not fast enough. No, can't save. No fucking clue why, other than the game hates us. Let me just ask him why you want the frozen plane so badly. Why do you want the frozen plane so badly? Oh, I should have known. She didn't like to talk about her reasons for doing things. After all, it's a topic that likely led to discussion in our past. It was then that she spoke, although it was almost a whisper. Doing it for Sis. Before she died, she told me to find the frozen flame and bury it. Bury it where? Her old mate's grave. Looked at her feet as she walked. She wasn't me real sister, but she's as good as family to me. When she took me in, I was bloody helpless. Couldn't remember a thing, and I was barely old enough to survive on my own. She didn't go into too much detail about who her mate was. Best I can remember is that I needed to find the grave of a girl who buried another mate of hers and died not long after. He does what the frozen flame should be laid to rest or something like that. To be honest, I wasn't paying much attention at the time. It's not like I could have known what was about to happen when she disappeared and I realized she wasn't coming back, though. I swore I'd make good on what she asked me to do. Another frozen flame, and I dragged past the Lynx and get me my revenge. His eyes almost seemed to glow, the heat in the cold air, nice air. I'll make him pay for everything he's done. No matter what it takes, even if it kills me. Then she fell silent. Sorry, kid, I didn't mean to bring up something so painful. There was a pause before she replied. Nah, you're alright. I should have said something sooner, before I roped you into this. Sorry. I was raised the preens to fumble around to try and find something to say in reply. Well, all that filled the rest of the corridor was the sound of yet more footsteps. Okay. I guess say one cool graphic is good enough to earn itself a negative or a positive. And can't save here either. Huh? This battle seems to end in your favor regardless of your choices. Wow. Oh, God. Is it because I'm freaking low on health? I'm just doomed to death? Well, there is a mansion map in the game packs. Oh, it actually it gives you the address where Surge's health level is stored. But since we're not using an emulator, we can't do that. And the mirrors of whispers. If Kate appreciates you enough, she'll give up the stone for you. What? So, I mean, maybe because we chose to hear her, maybe that is going to make the difference. And maybe that's why that you're not allowed to save because they don't want people to like, keep on going back. Also, Lynx looks stupid. I don't know if I should give out a negative or not. Also, the Kingdom of Zeal looks a lot more H. Geiger-esque than I remember. Well, we're soft locked from an ending. That I think deserves another negative. And probably the final negative, I'll be giving this game for quite some time because I do not feel like replaying the entire thing with a freaking walkthrough to gain enough of kids' affection to not not have Wings kill me at the end of the game. Like maybe after I play Chrono Cross proper, I'll come back to this, but at the moment, I'm not feeling it. I'm pretty sure I got an ending, and not just this game over thing. The first time I played this, and I wasn't even like aware of the affection or fully aware of the affection system. I believe it wasn't the best ending, but I got an ending. And now that I'm actually kind of putting in some effort to try and get affection points with Kid, even though I don't fully understand how the system works, I'm, and even though it felt like from the conversations we were having, like she was more positively inclined to me than not, I'm getting the worst ending. The death ending. The game over ending. What the hell? But we have a lot of positives and negatives here. For a visual novel, this is actually, I guess Chrono Trigger was also leaning toward interaction a lot more in my observations. So, let's do interaction. Interaction positives are. Do we have any interaction positives? I think they're all negatives. Oh, we have one. We have the fast forward feature. Oh yeah, and the number of options again it says two, which brings us up to three. But I think interaction may be net negative here. I can pretty much guarantee it at this point that it's a net negative. It's one, two, three, four, five, six. It's probably a good thing that I've given as many positives as I had to information. I believe there's still like one more negative. One, two, three, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this game actually leans more toward information, which kind of makes sense because it is a visual novel. Um, if there's one negative, yeah, so lack of any health indicator or time limit indicator, and I'm only giving that one more negative. So like, it's possible that I may give it more positives once I see the ending, or I don't know. Three plus 7, 2. That's a total points are 23. 25, I mean. And so 16 out of 25 is this is a 6 out of 10. I probably give it a bit of a bump, with my own discretion, to a 7 out of 10. And it's incredibly close to being rounded up anyway. Like, it's literally like a fraction of a point away from being rounded up to 7. So yeah, like that feels like my like in terms of the story, it is excellent. Um, the story is excellent. The implementation is abysmal. on the interactivity side, it is probably like let's even like that 3 out of a total 10 points. It's a 3 out of 10 exactly for interactive. Um, on the it is a 9 out of 10 on the information side. So the interactivity really drags it down. Um, the gameplay basically just really drags it down from a 9 to a 7. Um, yeah, I think it might actually be my final score. Like I'll probably still be open to adding more points so that at the very least I can um, make the raw score a little bit closer to my amended score. Um, I'm gonna take a break for supper, and then we may get into Chrono Cross proper. Yeah. Anyway, there's a bunch of things you can do to take a few seconds of your time, as well as other things that are a bit more involved. But of course, it's all entirely up to you. And regardless, I thank you very much for watching.